but her evasive efforts proved disastrous. She hadn't been traveling at a high rate of speed, but her abrupt, instinctive jerk of the wheel to avoid hitting the animal was enough to send the sedan spinning, any notion that she was in control disappearing out the window into the night. She tried desperately to regain control, pumping the brake and remembering to turn into the slide as panic washed over her like icy waves. She was going to end up in the lake. It was her greatest nightmare, being swallowed up by water, trapped and helpless inside a sinking vehicle. Her sister didn't need one more loss. Poor McKenna. That was her last random thought before the front passenger fender struck a small fir tree, the airbags deploying. The car spun a little more, then came to rest in a snowbank, only a few feet away from the water. Natalie pushed away the airbag and fought to draw oxygen into her lungs, adrenaline pumping through her. She was alive. She didn't know how, but she was alive. She gave a small laugh, shaking her head. Now she only had to figure out how to get out of here. Easier said than done. The car was high-centered on a rock or a log or something. She put it in gear and tried to reverse. The engine revved and the tires spewed snow and dirt, but nothing happened. Okay, great. Did she have a cell signal to call for a lift? Did Shelter Springs even have a taxi service these days? Making a mighty effort to collect her scattered thoughts, she scooped up her tote from the floor where it had fallen off the seat and started to dig for her cell phone. She was so focused on looking for it, she didn't hear the knock on her window. She glanced over in surprise and saw a man in dark clothing leaning down to peer in. To her dismay, a small shriek escaped. All the true crime podcasts she listened to seemed to flash a warning to her brain in neon lights. Don't open the door. She checked to make sure the locks were all engaged. When the man knocked again, obviously not going anywhere, she rolled down the window a crack, enough that she could hear over the howling wind. Is everyone okay? I saw you spin out. I've called the highway patrol. I'm a doctor. Can I help? The voice seemed to strike a memory chord, but she couldn't identify his features in the dark. No, I don't think so. I'm the only one inside the vehicle, and I'm fine. Except I seem to be stuck. What happened? He asked. Was it black ice? It's slicker than spit out here, and the wind isn't helping anything. Mostly hit deer with a death wish that jumped out right in front of me. I think I missed him, but I probably still have hoof marks on the hood. His teeth flashed in the darkness, and she found herself wishing she could see his features. There was something about that voice that seemed so familiar. I've got a truck back there, a 3/4 ton, and a tow rope. I can have you out in a jiffy. Again, those podcast warnings rattled through her head. She almost told him thanks but no thanks, then discarded the idea. It might be hours before she could get help, and the alternative was walking 2 miles into town through the blizzard and with poor visibility. She had learned in her travels the past 5 years that sometimes she had to reach outside of her comfort zone. Anyway, this was small-town Idaho, where she knew most of the people who lived here, or at least someone who was related to them. Thank you, I appreciate that. He seemed to peer in at her, probably trying to figure out if he knew her. She had the impression of strength somehow. Though she knew that made no sense, it helped calm her nerves as he left her again. A moment later, headlights cut through the darkness as he pulled up behind her. She heard rather than saw when he attached a tow rope to her bumper, then walked around to her driver's side again. Okay, just put it in neutral if you would, he said to her. She complied, remembering with stark clarity the month after she received her driving license when Jake took it upon himself to give her a few adulting lessons. How to fix a flat tire, how to jumpstart a car battery, how to tow and be towed. The reminder of her older brother was a sharp, twisting ache in her chest. He was one of the ghosts who stirred around her whenever she came back to town. As much as she tried, Natalie found it impossible not to think about him here. Jake was the one who had taught her how to drive in snow, who had instructed her to carry a bag of rock salt for both weight and possible traction in the back of the little pickup she drove in high school. Her rescuer backed slowly toward the road. With a loud grating noise, her car came free of whatever had been trapping it. No other cars were in sight, probably because anybody with a shred of common sense was tucked up at home enjoying the lights of their Christmas tree and having some hot cocoa. Her rescuer returned to her window. This time she lowered it a little.